And good morning, sports fans, and welcome to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, heard every Saturday morning right here on the Coach's Corner Sports Network. And I'm live outside, of course, in the Sound Garden. Whether it's 98 degrees, whether it's 38 degrees, I said I'd do it for a full year. I'd be out here on the stage. Hey, it's a privilege to be on the Sound Garden stage here at Coach's Corner for my show, the Karl DeMasi Sports Report. And like I say every week, I appreciate you joining me, whether it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's all about local sports, and that's what I like doing. So we got to get that. Go back to the start of the show where I got Islands High Sharks. I guess I'm not going to be able to do that, so I'll do it during a commercial break, I hope. But let's see. Go to banners. It's the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, not the Island High School Sharks. All right. There we go. We'll take it away. It's the coach. It's always fun doing a live show, whether it's on the internet, on the radio. There's always something going on. And, there's a special feature. Join the show. Give me a comment. Here's the producer. He's home in the backstage. He's going to tell me when I don't have my mic on. He's going to tell me when the screen goes off. But the Coach's Corner Sports Network was all this man's idea, Lawrence Bennett, and it's grown to 5-show, Rubbin' and Grubbin' Wednesday night with Brandon Bain, and the producer, Lawrence Bennett, every Wednesday night talking all things NASCAR. Then, of course, yours truly, Karl DeMasi Sports Report on Saturday mornings. Then once a year, during the Masters, first week of April, from the Henderson Cabin, you'll have the 19th hole with the Herb Brothers, 5 straight days of all golf information. And I'm telling you right now, these guys do a great job, and it's fun to be part of it. It's a little doltish, but it's a lot of fun. And then 2 podcasts. One went to bed once the Braves got knocked out, and that's, of course, the Who's on First Base Baseball podcast with the coach, yours truly, and Kyle Lawson. 5 seasons we've been doing that show, and we're part of the Coach's Corner Sports. And we've got to thank John Henderson, of course, Lawrence Bennett for getting us on. And, of course, the Young Pup Hot Grids podcast with Travis Jadon. I think they're up to 143 an episode, so you got to love it. But like I say, thank you for joining the show. We got a great lineup. Like I say every week, I'm going to talk a little about high school sports, what happened last night, show you a couple of videos. Then we'll get into the first Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete at 9:15. This young lady signed a national letter of intent last week at Islands High School. That's why it says Islands High School Sharks, because I posted it on the Facebook page for Islands High School. Devin Long, she'll be attending East Carolina University on a full scholarship to play softball there. Then Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete number 2 at 9:30 will be Memphis Rich, junior out of Richmond Hill High School, who won the Class 7A cross-country meet 2 weeks ago. Last week he went to the Champions meet, so we got him on. Then about 9:45, he's back. The prognosticator, I'm getting good at that, the college game picker by the spread, Stephen Elmo Weeks. He went 3-2 last week. He's at 20-15. And at 10 o'clock, we didn't get a chance to do our weekly Prep Sports Report Pigskin preview due to the fact that I had a tough week. He's busy coaching youth basketball. He is all honorable mention basketball player from his days at Savannah Country Day, and that's Travis Jadon about 10 o'clock talking about high school football. And, of course, high school basketball has started. So let's get right to it right away. Let's go to the news and notes. I got about 5 minutes to do this, so we'll probably just get through high school. Yes, high school playoffs. We still got 3 teams left in the high school playoffs. Okay, we got Benedictine, who took care of business last night at Memorial Stadium. They beat Spalding 45-6. All right, check out the story on the Prep Sports Court by Travis Jadon. Zaquan Bryant, 2 punt returns for touchdowns, an interception, a highlight jump over a defender, which I'll show you in a couple minutes. Just a great job. Luke Cromenhawk, 11 for 14, 121 yards passing with 1 TD. Samuels was running all over the place. So once again, Benedictine now will have to go on the road because of the universal coin flip. When 2 seeded teams of the same seed play each other, it goes to a coin flip. They're both number 1s. So Benedictine will be traveling to Stockbridge High School next Friday night. In Class 3A over at Calvary Day School, Mark Stroud, congratulations, 250 wins as a head coach. That's pretty impressive. 31 years as a head coach, 250 wins. The Cavaliers win last night in a shootout with Doherty, 54 to 41. Neither team could stop each other. Calvary on the ground, over 350 yards rushing. Doherty in the air. It was just unbelievable. Senior Trevor Strobridge for the Cavaliers rushed for 179 yards on 15 carries. A.J. Butts finished it off with 4 touchdowns. Dupa Coleman had 84 yards on 11 carries. A 80-yard kickoff return. I couldn't find the highlight. I would have loved to show that. And, of course, Jake Merkelinger, 5 for 10, 78 yards, 2 touchdown runs. They will have to travel to the number 1 team next week up in Atlanta, Cedar Grove. Yes, the high school state ranking. Cedar Grove is number 1. Calvary's number 2. I would say this might be the state championship game played in the Elite 8, okay? So the quarterfinals. So it'll be pretty impressive. The only team will be staying home, Savannah Christian. Took to the road to Peach County. They beat Peach County 23-7. At 7-7 halftime, Jamarian McIvory takes the second half kickoff, 92 yards to put the Raiders up 14-7. They go on to win 23-7. They stop the team who's been averaging 33 points a game, Peach County, to move on to the quarterfinals. And they play home. That's right. The only home game on Friday night, the day after Thanksgiving, at Apula Stadium. Savannah Christian will take on Sandy Creek. They're both seeded number 2. Savannah Christian was on the bottom of the bracket. They get to host the game, okay? So that's high school. BC, still ranked number 4 in Class 4A. Calvary, like I said, number 2. They'll be taking on number 1 next week, so it's going to be pretty exciting. All right, high school basketball, it started. Preseason rankings in the boys, 3A, Johnson and Beach are in there in 3A. In A, Division I, Woodville, Tompkins. Girls, A, Division I, Woodville, Tompkins, and Bryan County. All right, boys' scores from last night. Yes, they're playing basketball. Richmond Hill beat Long County 55-44. Beach beat Savannah High 59-57. Watch out, that Savannah High team is young and dangerous. That Beach team is loaded. South Effingham 79, Bryan County 48. In girls, Windsor Forest beat Jenkins 26-22. And Richmond Hill girls beat Long County 37-30. This is all the scores I can get off of Max Preps. If you get a score, email me, text me. I'd like to get it up there, okay? Today's games. St. Andrews boys goes out to Hilton Head Prep. They won their first game last week, defending GIAA Division III champions. St. Andrews girls will be playing at St. Vincent's at 2 o'clock. Effingham's at Portal, boys at 4 o'clock. Richmond Hill at Bradwell, boys and girls at 3, boys at 4:30. Windsor Forest is at McIntosh Academy at 5 o'clock. Johnson is at Peach County, boys and girls 5 and 6:30. South Effingham at Southeast Bullock at 6 o'clock. New Hampstead is at Jenkins, and I think it's a boys-girls doubleheader starting at 2:30 and 4. And then Savannah High hosts Meadow Creek at Savannah High. All right, so that's what we got. Got to keep on time. Got to get out of here. Once again, give me a comment. Loyal listener, Dennis Kessler. Good morning, Coach DeMasi. Calvary going to the Elite 8. They play Cedar Grove, and they're playing at Cedar Grove. You have a wonderful day, my friend. You're a great guy. You have a great day, and always go Cavs. Yeah, Dennis Kessler every morning jumping in, telling me that he's here. Gotta love those loyal fans. And like I said, making me part of your day, making you part of your Saturday morning is something special. Okay, next up, my first guest will be my first Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week from Islands High School. She signed to go play at ECU, East Carolina University, to play softball, will be Devin Long. Okay, got to thank the sponsors. So give me 3 minutes, and I got to find out what my guest is too. So I'll be back. You're watching the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, all part of the Coach's Corner Sports Network, live on the Soundgarden stage. Not inside, outside in this beautiful weather. All the time. That's Coach's Corner in Thunderbolt, Georgia. Because Coach's Corner has been voted the best in Savannah for over 20 years running. It's no wonder why there's always sports, live music in the Soundgarden, and delicious and abundance of pub food. No matter what the season, there's always a reason to check out Coach's Corner. Pick your favorite sport, pick your favorite team, and pick your favorite TV because Coach's is your place to be. Coach's Corner has been Savannah strong since 1991 and is always open for dining service for lunch and dinner. Remember, Coach's Corner still has takeout service. Join John Henderson and the crew for the best burgers, wings, and now pizza too. You can place your order by calling Coach's Corner at 912-352-2933. That's right, remember that number, 912-352-2933. So make your next pit stop at Coach's Corner. And as always, make it a night to remember at Coach's. At Calvary Day School, we want our students to be fully equipped and on the cutting edge of academics, making a difference in our world. Your child will grow academically, physically, socially, and spiritually. At Calvary, it is so good to say we are one school with one mission and one vision. Faith, academics, excellence, and building champions through Christ. Calvary Day School, we consider it a privilege to meet with your family personally. Call Philip Lee, Director of Admissions at 351-2299. That's 351-2299.
For over half a century, when it comes to uniforms, sporting goods, or trophies, Thompson's got you covered. From cleats to caps and best prices on the biggest brands, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. From baseball to soccer, volleyball to softball, and yes, football too. Every season starts at Thompson Sports Shop. Come cut and get equipped at Thompson Sports Shop's new location, 6606 Abercorn Street, Suite 102 in Savannah. Open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and seasonal on Saturdays. At locally owned Thompson Sporting Goods and Trophies, come see where everyone is a winner.
You still want some real New York Italian food? Bada bing, bada boom. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering is open at 7630 Skidaway Road, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., serving breakfast and lunch right here in Savannah, Georgia. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering has been serving the public for over 3 years. Now, if you want Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering goods delivered to your door, go online to SavannahTakeout.com or DoorDash.com, or just pick up the phone and call 912-354-2914. That's right, 912-354-2914. Kabish, and remember, we ain't New York style. We are New York at Rocky's New York Deli and Italian.
Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic. Your back hurts, another body part hurts all the time. It makes you mad. The pain drives you crazy. You just want to pick something up and throw it across the room, if you can. At the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic, you get complete chiropractic care and pain relief to help you move better, have a less painful life, and of course, achieve a healthier lifestyle. The Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic is now located at 2 locations in Savannah, Georgia, at 329 Eisenhower Drive and in Pooler at 114 Canal Street, Suite 603. So visit Dr. Bart Wetherington at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic for all your chiropractic needs.
And welcome back to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, live right here on the Coach's Corner stage, Soundgarden stage. I made it big time, but I promise you I'm not going to sing, okay? It's always a great day to be here. I appreciate you coming here for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but this is the special part of the show where I bring on the kids and have done something special. The last 2 weeks I've had 2 Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete Weeks, and this young lady, I think it was, I'm pretty sure on Wednesday, signed to go play college softball, D1 softball at East Carolina University. Let me get her stats up here, okay? This year's a pitcher. She had an ERA of 1.32, 14 wins, 90 innings pitched, 116 strikeouts. The opposing batting average for the team was 177. At the plate, she batted 400. But just listen to these statistics. Ranked 39th by the Extra Innings Softball Top 100. Owns a career batting average of 433, career 48 RBIs, 87 hits in 3 season plays, holds a 1.22 ERA, 248 strikeouts, 3-sport athlete at Islands, softball, basketball, flag football, 3-time All-Region pitcher, All-Region first team pitcher, shortstop, named Pitcher of the Year 2 years ago. She's in the National Honor Society, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching this girl play college softball. Joining me now on the Coach's Corner hot seat is my gal, Devin Long. Can you hear me, Devin?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good deal. Traveling the backwoods, going up to East Carolina, you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're on the road right now.
Well, congratulations on a great career, a great season, and of course for signing to play D1 softball, which I know it's been a dream of yours. But it all had to start somewhere. So when did Dad throw you on the softball field?
I was on the softball field when I was 4 years old. I started T-ball, and then they also started coach pitch that early, so I was holding the ball from 4 years old.
Now, you haven't been here in Savannah, Georgia, or the area for a long time. Tell everybody where you're originally from.
So I'm originally born in Ohio, but I was raised in Hawaii. So I've been there for 12 years of my life, and then I came here. And yeah.
So tell us the difference between Hawaii and good old Savannah.
It never gets below 70 degrees in Hawaii. So that was a huge adjustment for me. But it's really pretty out there, all nice skies and stuff. But I like it here too.
So was last night a little chilly for you?
Yes, sir. It was really cold for me. I was bundled up all night.
So I know it was cold. I sat at the Calvary football game. It got down to about 39 degrees. But I'm out here. It's 45 degrees, and, I'm from New York, so I got to love it. Dad's from Pennsylvania, so, he knows a little bit about the cold weather, too. So let's talk about your softball routine. I mean, Division I softball scholarship. How have you become such the player that you are? What was your routine?
It's just about being consistent with my work and just always striving to get better. I've always had a goal. Every time I go into a facility to work, I have a goal to get better at one thing each time. And it's just also being mentally strong with working and knowing that I'm not going to get that goal every time, but I got to work hard for it every time I go into the facility.
Well, I've watched you, and it's nonstop. After school, going to pitching lessons or getting extra batting practices. But how do you manage your athletics with your academics? National Honor Society student, I think they said the other day, 87 grade point average. How do you manage this?
It's just about time managing. Whenever I have free time in class, I'm always making sure I'm getting ahead on my work or doing work from that day. And if I don't, then I have to make sure that I'm doing it at home. And sometimes I'm up late, but it's just managing that time correctly and just being able to work and managing both together.
All right. So football, basketball. I know you did flag football for 1 year. What's your favorite?
I think I like basketball a lot more.
Why?
I've just grown up around basketball. My sister was a basketball player. My dad has always coached basketball, and it's just being able to just run up and down the court. I don't know. I feel something about it. It's just I like it a lot better.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. So because you'll be a big part of the game, and I'm going back finally to coach high school basketball. Hey, and if you do have a comment, please put it in the comment box. You got a question for Devin about why she chose ECU or why softball? Put it in there. We got a couple of people, an avid listener. She'd like to say good morning, Lindsay Marie Quick. And I don't know if you know this young man, but he tells me you're amazing. Richard Hayes.
Yeah.
You know Richard Hayes?
I do.
You see, people are watching us, so this old guy does get some people to watch, so it's pretty cool, okay? So, I've been following you. Why East Carolina University? Because there are other schools looking at you. Wasn't there Purdue? And tell us the teams that were looking at you and why ECU.
So some of the teams that were looking at me would include Purdue, Florida State, but ECU just really took it home because I've known Coach Winkler for a while now. I've known him since I was 12 years old, and when I went up to East Carolina, it just felt like home. All the girls were really welcoming every time I went to a camp, and they all told Coach Winkler that they want me on their team and they hoped that I was going to go to them. So that just made me feel really accepted and they want me and they know that I'm going to be good for their program.
Nice. And, it has to be a good fit. It has to be somewhere you want to go. But now, Purdue, Florida State, how long has ECU been recruiting you, though? Did it just come about, or they've been following you for 2-3 years?
So, like I said, I've known Coach Winkler since I was 12. So when I knew him, he's always been on the lookout, always checking up on me. So it's been a good 2 years maybe. And then as soon as he could actually finally talk to me, he was always kept keeping up with me and making sure and watching all of my games. So
I don't want you to think I'm rude because I'm looking away. I'm a one-man show here, so I'm the producer, I'm the editor. I got 50 things going on, so it doesn't happen. But I'm paying attention. So you had a coach that has been following you. Now, as far as growing up in COVID-19 and the recruiting process, how has that affected you? Has it been tough? Has it been stressful, or you knew down the road that something good was going to happen?
With COVID-19, I don't feel like it really affected me too much. I was already halfway through my junior year, and like I already had all the coaches that was really talking to me. So it was just a big part of me being on social media and just making sure that I'm working on my own and putting out that work on social media so that they can still see me and still follow me. So with COVID, I feel like it didn't really push a setback on me because I knew that if I wanted to go to college, that there was a college out there for me, and like everybody was watching.
So as far as ECU, the campus, and everything else, what's impressed you most outside the softball about the campus, about what goes on, and what's it like at East Carolina University?
Around East Carolina, like the community is really big on East Carolina. So like you go out to stores around East Carolina and you see ECU stuff everywhere. So I feel like that having a big community around you is just really important, and like all the sports support each other in sports. So it's like having that backbone as a student athlete it was really nice.
Tell us about the facility. That's got to be sweet.
Yeah, it is really nice. So we just actually they're building a new weight room by our softball field. So I'm really excited to go see that today actually. But it's really nice being able to be all together and like just being able to be next to other fields and close to everything. That way, like everybody can come support everybody too.
Nice. Okay, this is my last question about East Carolina. How am I supposed to do that? The pirate hook? Oh, one finger?
Yeah.
One finger. Okay.
One finger.
Captain Hook, I got you. All right. So ECU, okay, Are they going to let you play one position or going to let you play two positions? Because everybody, I'm not blowing my bubble here, but I got a chance to coach her 1 year. And her father is a very good softball coach, very good coach in general. I think he likes basketball a little more too. But anyway, to make a long story short, are they going to let you pitch? Are they going to let you play shortstop? Are they going to, people don't know you also can be a catcher too.
Yeah. So I've talked to Coach Winkler about that, and he has big plans for me to be able to come in and play different positions. He wanted me to be able to be a pitcher, but he's also talked about me being able to play in that shortstop position and getting into the lineup a lot of times. So it's just the matter of me putting myself in front of him and working for that spot. If he feels like that I'm the best person in that position, he's going to put me in that position.
Nice. And if you're just tuning in, you're watching the Karl DeMasi Sports Report on the Coach's Corner Sports Network, lives on Saturdays right here on the Coach's Corner stage. I won't sing for you, Devin, because I don't want to, that's why you guys play music during practice. So we got a comment here. Okay, we got a comment, and let me read it first. All right. Richard Hayes wants to know, did your dad do any work or just watch you shine?
My dad was a big part of my recruiting process. He did it with my sister, so he kind of knew the ins and outs of the recruiting process. So he was always harping on me to make sure I'm sending these emails and make sure I'm posting on Twitter. And it was just a really good motivation and make sure like I'm doing everything that I need to do and like so that people can watch me and get where I am. Also, he was a big coach in my life. He's been a coach all my life. So I guess I can give him a little bit of my talents, He helped me a lot.
Yeah, I know at the signing, if you didn't watch it on Facebook, and I forgot to turn the camera when she was talking. I forgot to turn the camera when I was talking. But anyway, that's the old guy. Memory's going. Coach Dad, that's what you call him, right?
Yep. Coach Dad.
So, all right. So tell us about the other family members, your mom, your brothers, your sisters. It's not a small family. So tell us how your family has had an impact on your life academically and athletically.
They've always been a big part of the motivation behind me and like the big support system. Like just knowing that they're always supporting me or always watching my games is just a big factor in my life. My sister, of course, a big motivation for me because she was also a student athlete in college. And my brother, he was also a student athlete in high school. And my sister also was a student athlete. So just coming from that line of student athletes kind of put a push to me to be that better student athlete than all of them. So.
All right, we'll turn quickly now to what's been home for you for the last 4 years, Islands High School. Your dad and Aaliyah Williams' dad, Irvin, approached me, wanted to know how you can get, and I said, well, the only way you're going to get to Islands High School is to get into one of the specialty programs, and you guys did all the work, because I don't want to be accused of recruiting, and I know some people have accused me of doing that, but I never did that. So tell us about Islands High School. What has the last 4 years meant to you? What's it been like going there as a student and as an athlete?
So as a student, it's been really nice. Like, all the teachers have been really understanding about me being an athlete and have been real flexible with me and my work. But I make sure I get everything done on time, and if I don't, they're real flexible with it, and they always just want to see me succeed. And with athletically, I came in as a freshman not knowing everybody, but with my talents, like, I just built this big family with all the athletes, because they were just real welcoming, and knowing that we have a nice, good athlete coming in, it was just a big family behind me, and everybody supports everybody. Sometimes we might get onto each other about our sports and who's a better athlete, but we all know we're all there for each other.
Well, could Veronica Searson hit your fastball?
She says that she can, but I always ask her, has she ever swung a bat in her life? So we have to test her one day.
Yeah, we'll have to do that before you guys graduate. So, we got the Qs against the Pirates, so we got to do that. So, all right. So, this wasn't on the list, but I'm going to make it quick. Any pregame rituals? Any favorite food that you like to eat before games?
So, before softball games, I've always wanted to eat a banana. That was my bigger thing, just eat a banana before softball games. And I always put my right shoe on before my left shoe. So that's a big thing for me.
I can understand that. I know when I was big into coaching football down here, I would have to find a heads-up penny before the game, or sometime during the week before the game, or I didn't think we were going to win. So, yeah, I know. Stupid decisions, I know. All right. So, if you had a young girl that was interested in playing softball and she's watched you grow, she's watched you practice, she watched you sign, what kind of advice would you give her about trying to achieve a scholarship or playing at the next level?
I would tell her that just work hard and do everything you're supposed to do, because everybody's watching at all times, and coaches are always talking to each other about players. And don't get too discouraged about not having a college coach talk to you, or not having these big D1 offers that you want, because if you really love softball and you really love the game of softball, there's going to be a college for you, and there's going to be a place that you're going to call home to be able to play at that next level.
All right, last question. You go to ECU, you're going to be playing softball, but what do you want to do outside athletics? What is something that might interest you? Now, a lot of freshmen don't know what they want to do, but do you have any interest before you enter the campus in August?
Yeah, so I want to pursue a career in anesthesiology.
Nice.
So, yeah, I want to go in to biology, be a biology major, so I can get the medical school afterwards, so I can pursue that career.
And like I told you many a time, Devin, you're probably one of the best athletes I've had a chance to cover, and this old guy's been around a long time. Keep it up. Proud to see you grow into the young lady that you are, not just the young student athlete. You got a lot going for you, and tell the OG next to you, you gotta love it. There's nothing better than what you're doing. And I know we always say go Sharks right now, but I'll give you this one. Go Pirates.
Go Pirates.
Have a good day. Have fun up there.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll talk to you later. Great job.
Bye.
Bye. Senior Islands High School, Devin Long just signed to play at East Carolina. We had some other people jump in. You got a comment? Let me know. Julie Clark Morris, good morning. She also says, go Sharks. And this gentleman's been following the whole segment. Richard Hayes, great job, Devin. All your dad's co-workers are huge fans of you and your family. Appreciate it. So, all right, so she's going to ECU. Well, this next Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week did something special 2 weekends ago. Couldn't get him on last week with Margaret Wade from Savannah Arts Academy. I wanted to have the Day of Champions or the Morning of Champions, but he was running in another race. But he's won a lot of races this year, but most of all, he captured the Class 7A, the largest classification cross-country championship 2 weeks ago for Richmond Hill High School. He's only a junior. He'll be back, and that's Memphis Rich. Give me 3 minutes, Memphis. He's waiting in the back room. Got to thank my sponsors. Remember, it's the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, all part of the Coach's Corner Sports Network every Saturday, 3 minutes with Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic number 2 from Richmond Hill High School. They're always building the hill, and he runs the hills, Memphis Rich.
All the time. That's Coach's Corner in Thunderbolt, Georgia, because Coach's Corner has been voted the best in Savannah for over 20 years running. It's no wonder why. There's always sports, live music in the sound garden, and delicious and abundance of pub food. No matter what the season, there's always a reason to check out Coach's Corner. Pick your favorite sport, pick your favorite team, and pick your favorite TV, because Coach's is your place to be. Coach's Corner has been Savannah strong since 1991 and is always open for dining service for lunch and dinner. Remember, Coach's Corner still has takeout service. Join John Henderson and the crew for the best burgers, wings, and now pizza too. You can place your order by calling Coach's Corner at 912-352-2933. That's right, remember that number, 912-352-2933. So make your next pit stop at Coach's Corner. And as always, make it a night to remember at Coach's. At Calvary Day School, we want our students to be fully equipped and on the cutting edge of academics, making a difference in our world. Your child will grow academically, physically, socially, and spiritually. At Calvary, it is so good to say we are one school with one mission and one vision: faith, academics, excellence, and building champions through Christ. Calvary Day School would consider it a privilege to meet with your family personally. Call Philip Lee, Director of Admissions, at 351-2299. That's 351-2299.
For over half a century, when it comes to uniforms, sporting goods, or trophies, Thompson's got you covered. From cleats to caps and best prices on the biggest brands, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. From baseball to soccer, volleyball to softball, and yes, football too. Every season starts at Thompson Sports Shop. From cutting and equipped at Thompson Sports Shop's new location, 6606 Abercorn Street, Suite 102 in Savannah. Open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and seasonal on Saturdays. At locally owned Thompson Sporting Goods and Trophies, come see where everyone is a winner.
You still want some real New York Italian food? Bada bing, bada boom. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering is open at 7630 Skidaway Road, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., serving breakfast and lunch right here in Savannah, Georgia. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering has been serving the public for over 3 years. Now, if you want Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering goods delivered to your door, go online to SavannahTakeout.com or DoorDash.com, or just pick up the phone and call 912-354-2914. That's right, 912-354-2914. Kabish, and remember, we ain't New York style, we are New York at Rocky's New York Deli and Italian.
Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic. Your back hurts, another body part hurts all the time, it makes you mad, the pain drives you crazy, you just want to pick something up and throw it across the room? If you can, at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic, you get complete chiropractic care and pain relief to help you move better, have a less painful life, and of course, achieve a healthier lifestyle. The Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic is now located at 2 locations in Savannah, Georgia, at 329 Eisenhower Drive and in Pooler at 114 Canal Street, Suite 603. So visit Dr. Bart Wetherington at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic for all your chiropractic needs.
And welcome back to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, heard every Saturday morning on the Coach's Corner Sports Network on the internets. Karl DeMasi Facebook page, Coach's Corner Facebook page, Prep Sports Report Facebook page, Twitter at KD Sports Report, YouTube, the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, and you could also get it on your phone, get it on your computer, wherever you want to listen, but it's always a lot of fun being here every Saturday morning. And this is special, when you get to talk to the good kids that have done something great. This is the second week, 2 Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athletes Week, back-to-back. You know, nominate an athlete, I'll put 3 on, I'll put 4 on. It's about the kids, okay? Of course, local sports, and John Henderson for letting me do this on the Sound Garden stage. You can see the 9 75-inch TVs behind me. Georgia football all day here. Any game you want, come on in. All right, so let's get to why I'm doing this, okay? Another good kid. I mean, this guy has been winning races all year long. You know, he won the Wingfoot Championship way back in September. He won the Alexander Asics in October. Also in October, first in the Class 7A Regional. Then he goes and wins the state championship 2 weekends ago. He goes up to the media champions, does one of his best personal bests, but he was going against a lot of top. But you know what? He's still coming home with the Class 7A gold medal for winning the Class 7A boys individual state championship in cross country from Richmond Hill High School. He was also Savannah Morning News Cross Country Runner of the Year as a sophomore. Junior, Memphis Rich. What's up, Memphis?
How's it going?
Hey, it's a Saturday morning. I'm getting to talk to good kids like you about what you've done special. Congratulations on a great season. And I know Coach Levi Seibert preaches team out there, even though we know that cross country sometimes tends to be individual, but just a great job.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So, I've talked to a lot of cross country runners. So, and I always ask this question: when did you start running, and what do you love so much about running?
So I probably started my running journey, if you will, back in 4th and 5th grade. I hadn't had a sport that I, was defined in. I like to do swimming, basketball, baseball. And so I was like, well, I want to find a sport that I can just commit to. And so in 4th grade, I was living in Alabama. I had a bunch of friends that were runners. And so my public school actually didn't have like a team, there was only private schools. And so this private school, St. Luke's in Alabama, they had open tryouts for public school kids. And so I was able to go try out. I made the team. And then that's where my running career began. And I followed it all the way up into middle school here when I moved to Richmond Hill. And I've loved it ever since I started it. It's just been something that's kept me competitive and, eager to be better.
Well, I know the program over there, I think it's like the last 11, 12 years. You guys win region titles, girls and boys. Coach Levi Seibert does a great job. But you got to love what you do. What do you love the most about running?
As a competitor, it's an amazing feeling when you can cross that finish line in first place, knowing that all your hard work and training is paying off. But I will say, over the past few years, we've just had an amazing team environment, being able to go to practice and not want to leave because of how much fun you're having, and that's hard to say when all you're doing is running. But, the conversation you have on runs, the time after practice when you're recovering and doing your little core exercises, just having a team that, you can work with and build relationships with, that's probably the most important part and fun part that I've.
Well, you've done a great job at it, and you love what you're doing. What challenges does a cross country runner face? Because we know football players lift weights, swimmers do land training. I mean, what challenges do cross country runners face?
I would say the biggest thing I've noticed amongst my peers and myself is really just keeping yourself 100%. And recovery is the most important thing that you can do to keep yourself that way. And I know that if I go days without recovering and I work my body to the max on some weeks and don't recover, I find myself walking around with a little limp or super sore or, hip issues. And I know, you're constantly running 30, 40, 50 miles a week. And so, that's a big part, is just making sure that you know what you're doing. You know that you got to maintain that. And by doing so, you have to go home. You have to stretch, recover, hydrate. If I don't drink water and I go on my run, I'm just going to cramp up. And it actually happened like 2 weeks ago. I didn't have any water. Went on my run, I was like, let's see what happens. And sure enough, halfway through, I was just cramping. So making sure that you're always on top of the most important things, like hydration, recovery, that's the challenge. You have to stay on top of that.
All right, so we know your athletic accomplishments. How do you manage your athletics and your academics? Like I asked Devin, because in high school, not many people go over time management like they will in college when you get there, which that's the last question if you're going to do that. But how do you manage your academics and your athletics, or even your recreational activities?
Well, I pride myself in trying to take, the most rigorous classes that I can while maintaining a sport. So, I try to take as much as I can. But the biggest thing I've noticed is when I realize that all I'm doing is focusing on running, I kind of have to take a step back, and just reevaluate and be like, all right, this is what's important. You can't go to college with bad grades. As good as you are, you need to continue to keep those grades up. And so I take a step back, and I might talk to my parents or talk to my coach, and I'm putting way too much effort into running right now, and I have to balance both. And so the biggest thing that I do is just kind of, when I notice that I'm getting into it too much, I just kind of take a step back, reevaluate, talk to my teachers, figure something out, and then we can just continue. And that's what's worked for me, is just making sure that I stay on top of those things and don't let them slip.
Now, apply running training. How has that taught you life lessons to apply to other things?
So, it's just kind of taught me a lot in that, the biggest thing with our training, I've learned to just trust, because I came in as a freshman and I was so eager to just run, and I wanted to do whatever I saw online, whatever I saw on YouTube. And I was like, I don't know if this is doing, I was like, even though he's got so much accomplishment, I was like, I thought I knew better. And so I kind of was just freshman year, I was like, you know what, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to trust. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I have benefited tremendously throughout Coach Levi's, he's just been mentoring me every single day, and being able to have a coach that successful, that knows what he's doing, speaks volumes. And I'm extremely grateful to have that. So I would say the most thing I've learned is just trusting the process, trusting your abilities, and trusting your coach.
Great segue, because that was my next question. So you just told us about Coach Siebert. Talk about your teammates. Talk about that program up there that has been now, it's recognized as one of the best cross-country programs in the state.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable program. I mean, we're extremely blessed. 11 girls region titles in a row, 10 guys regions titles in a row. Since Coach Levi started, I think he's had 39 athletes go to college, multiple state champions and multiple team championships. I mean, it's just, his resume is off the charts. And so, like I said, it was kind of silly. Thinking back, I'm like, why would I not trust this guy? Like, this guy is literally the best. And so, I mean, it's just an amazing environment. Everyone on that team is eager to get better. And luckily they have a coach that wants everyone to succeed. So when we practice, when we train, when we get down into the hard workouts and everything, everyone is just there to support each other, and it's an amazing vibe within the team.
So, okay, you've had a lot of great experience, but what's your most memorable experience running for the Richmond Hill High School cross-country track and field program?
It's funny because obviously winning state this year was amazing, the most amazing feeling I felt, but I have to say that my most memorable has to be last year as our team. That's something that we came in freshman year, we knew we could win, we fell short. And so I tell you, last season we did everything, every single run, every single post run, morning run, race, was just climbing that wall to that state title. And so I will say that when we heard that we won last year at the 6A, when we were in 6A state championship for the team, that was the most memorable, and I will never forget that feeling, getting to celebrate with all those guys.
I hear you. So, all right. So take us to this year's race, because talking to Margaret Wade, state champion from Savannah Arts Academy, she learned in the spring that she ran against a girl that she ran in the finals that she won, and this year was the same thing. Take us through the race. Were you out front? Were you trailing? What was the strategy? Because people think you just go out there and run, but there's strategy to it too, right?
Yes, sir. So I would say going into the race, my goal was to do the best I knew what I was capable of. I knew that if I'm going to like, and so we start, which was great. I wasn't expecting that, and then start, and then by the mile marker, I was like in second place, and I was like, this is not what I anticipated at all. All these guys have been following them. If they were seated better, then they should be in front of me. Well, I don't know, but I'm gonna keep on running. And by halfway, I was in the lead, and I was just like, all right, this is where I belong. I've trained for this. I'm gonna trust what coach is telling me, trust my training. I know I belong here. So I kept on running, and we had Jared Fortenberry with me for a little bit. And after the 2 mile, I had just pulled away. And, I never looked back, never, checked my surroundings. I just kept running as fast as I could, just trying to get to that finish line. And, I mean, it was just amazing going up that final hill, going down, crossing the line, looking back, not seeing anybody. I was just like, man, I could never have dreamed this one. So it was just completely unexpected, and really there was no game plan other than just do my best.
All right, 2 more questions. Your family, how has your family been part of this success so far, coming from Alabama, moving to Richmond Hill? How's your family been part of your success?
Man, they've easily been the most they just contribute so much, and it's amazing. I mean, freshman Memphis couldn't get out of bed in the mornings. They had to wake me up, drive me to my always waiting after school to pick me up because I like to linger, and so they're just driving 5 hours each way. This year driving 8 hours to Alabama so we could run at the Southern Showcase. Just they're at all my races, and at home. I mean, I I had a little freak scare on the Thursday before state. I had a water bottle drop on my foot, and I was bruised and I couldn't run. And I mean, it was amazing at how much they care. Because I mean, I called them, I told them that, went to the store, got everything they could. I mean, bought like 5 things they didn't need to just to make sure that I could do it, that I could get through it, And it was just seeing the support that they bring me, especially like my little brother coming all the way up to my meets, even though he doesn't have to, and my family doing everything in their power to make sure that I'm as successful as I can be. It just speaks volumes. And especially most of my family lives in California, but they're always calling me, always texting me,
Nice,
always checking on me. So I mean, just the support that I get from them is really awesome.
All right, last question. You still got another year to go. What does the future look like? You want to go to college? You plan on going to college to run track or cross country?
Yes, sir. That's the dream. That's what I keep on working for every single day. I mean, little talks here and there. No offers, no visits, but letters, emails. I'm starting the process. Hopefully, this track season's one for the books so that I can get my name out there even more, and then I can pursue that that Division I. Hopefully Power 5 school. That's the hope. I want to pursue it to the highest that I can, and represent Richmond Hill. So that'd be an amazing accomplishment.
Well, you got a team championship last year. You got an individual this year. You still got the track season to go. It's been fun watching you and watching that program because he does a great job. Coach Siebert does a great job. Keep it up, and like he probably tells you and everybody there, you're building the hill and you're doing a great job.
Yes, sir.
Keep it up, Memphis, and hopefully I can talk to you track with a little gold medal too.
That's the hope. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great job.
All right. Bye.
I mean, great kid. The program up there stands for itself. Girls 11 region title, guys 10 region title, state title last year, individual title this year. Levi Siebert does a great job with that Richmond Hill High School cross-country / track and field program. Well, next up, we're going to talk to the prognosticator. I've practiced that over and over again. I could say it right. The man that picks the college football game every week for us, and he is a big Georgia Bulldog fan. He'll talk about last week's game before we get into his picks. We're up next with Stephen Elmo Weeks, picking his college games for this week. Hey, it might help you out. The guy's 20-15. In 6 weeks, he's been doing this on the show, 20-15. That's pretty good odds. I'd stick with the guy. Might help you get some little cabbage, you know what I mean? We'll be right back in 3 minutes. You're watching the Karl DeMasi Sports Report live right here on the Coach's Corner Sports Network.
All the time. That's Coach's Corner in Thunderbolt, Georgia, because Coach's Corner has been voted the best in Savannah for over 20 years running. It's no wonder why. There's always sports, live music in the sound garden, and delicious and abundance of pub food. No matter what the season, there's always a reason to check out Coach's Corner. Pick your favorite sport, pick your favorite team, and pick your favorite TV, because Coach's is your place to be. Coach's Corner has been Savannah strong since 1991 and is always open for dine-in service for lunch and dinner. Remember, Coach's Corner still has takeout service. Join John Henderson and the crew for the best burgers, wings, and now pizza too. You can place your order by calling Coach's Corner at 912-352-2933. That's right, remember that number, 912-352-2933. So make your next pit stop at Coach's Corner. And as always, make it a night to remember at Coach's. At Calvary Day School, we want our students to be fully equipped and on the cutting edge of academics, making a difference in our world. Your child will grow academically, physically, socially, and spiritually. At Calvary, it is so good to say we are one school with one mission and one vision: faith, academics, excellence, and building champions through Christ. Calvary Day School would consider it a privilege to meet with your family personally. Call Philip Lee, Director of Admissions, at 351-2299. That's 351-2299.
For over half a century, it comes in uniforms, sporting goods, or trophies, Thompson's got you covered. From cleats to caps and best prices on the biggest brands, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. From baseball to soccer, volleyball to softball, and yes, football too. Every season starts at Thompson Sports Shop. From cutting and equipped at Thompson Sports Shop's new location, 6606 Abercorn Street, Suite 102 in Savannah. Open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and seasonal on Saturdays. At locally owned Thompson Sporting Goods and Trophies, come see where everyone is a winner.
You still want some real New York Italian food? Bada bing, bada boom. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering is open at 7630 Skidaway Road, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., serving breakfast and lunch right here in Savannah, Georgia. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering has been serving the public for over 3 years. Now, if you want Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering goods delivered to your door, go online to SavannahTakeout.com or DoorDash.com, or just pick up the phone and call 912-354-2914. That's right, 912-354-2914. Kabish, and remember, we ain't New York style. We are New York at Rocky's New York Deli and Italian.
Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic. Your back hurts, another body part hurts all the time. It makes you mad. The pain drives you crazy. You just want to pick something up and throw it across the room. If you can, at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic, you get complete chiropractic care and pain relief to help you move better, have a less painful life, and of course, achieve a healthier lifestyle. The Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic is now located at 2 locations in Savannah, Georgia, at 329 Eisenhower Drive and in Pooler at 114 Canal Street, Suite 603. So visit Dr. Bart Wetherington at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic for all your chiropractic needs.
And welcome back to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report live on the Coach's Corner Sports Network on the Coach's Corner Soundgarden stage. Last night, big band departure, packed house. That will be it for the season as far as music goes here on the Soundgarden. But there's football. Come watch Georgia on the 975-inch TV. That's right behind me. Always a lot of fun. 100, and I'm not joking you, 100 TVs here. If you want to watch your team, come watch your team. Hey, if you want to find out about your team, you want to make some college picks today, stay right here, because our next guest is 20-15 on the season. He's, I don't think he's had a losing week yet. I hope I'm not jinxing him here now, but he's doing a great job, and he loves the sports. Savannah, Georgia boy himself, Georgia Bulldog, big Georgia Bulldog fan, and alumni. Joining me now on the Coach's Corner hot seat, Stephen Elmo Weeks. What's up, Stephen?
Oh, not too much, man. Having a good morning. Just getting ready for game day.
Hey, before we get on this, did you notice the new picture I found of you?
I did, yeah. Yeah.
Tell people you're also a basketball coach.
I am. Yeah, I've coached. I've coached my oldest son's basketball teams for, I don't know, since 4th grade. He's in 8th grade, so 4 or 5 years, and I'm coaching the 8th grade team at Blessed Sacrament School this year. So yeah, yep. I love coaching, just like you. I love being around the kids, teaching, kind of using sports for life lessons. It's cool.
But the picture was with you and your son holding the championship trophy.
Yeah, we won the the SPAL, the SPAL championship in 6th grade. Last year, SPAL did a weird thing. They split teams up into like gold, silver, bronze. We came in 2nd in the silver division. So this year we're back playing 8th grade ball. Hopefully we'll get another trophy. I don't know. Calvary's pretty good. we're gonna be chasing the Cavaliers this year, but we've got a pretty good team. We got a bunch of great kids, been friends for a long time, great chemistry, and it's a lot of fun, man.
And because you and I can relate. I'm older than you, but I can relate to your kids. And being a coach for 39 years, okay, I've never won a high school championship, okay? I've been to a state semifinal. I've been to state quarterfinals. I've won 2 Long Island championships. I'm not blowing my bubble here. The only championships I've won are 3 in SPAL with all 3 kids. And
that's great.
That's the great – I mean, I don't need the bling, but just coaching each one of them to win that SPAL championship was a lot of fun. My daughter, which nobody knows about, I took a bunch of 7th, 8th grade girls that didn't have no business winning. And, I mean, I can understand. It's just great that, you get to do that with your kids.
I'll tell you, that the team that we in 6th grade, what's really cool is that these kids, for the most part, have been friends since pre-K or kindergarten. And when the season started, we certainly didn't think we were going to win a championship. We were lucky to make a layup, other than maybe Jack. And we were fortunate that Michael Kleinpeter's son, Ben Kleinpeter, transferred in, and he's a really good athlete. But yeah, the kids came together, and it was weird, man. Like, everybody contributed, everybody had a moment, and it was a great feeling, just mostly because of the relationships. Those kids remember it, and hopefully we'll create another memory this year.
All right, quickly before we get to your picks, because I know there are people listening. All right, Georgia, again, did what they had to do. They covered the spread.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just hope, once again, we talked about last week, that this is not going to be a trap game going to Kentucky.
Kentucky's not playing very well. I think Will Levis was pretty dramatically overrated as a quarterback this season, and they've had some injuries to deal with as well. But I don't anticipate this is the kind of game. I mean, it is it's an afternoon game in Lexington, so it's on the road. It's not the kind of game that Kirby Smart typically lets get away from him. I don't anticipate that he's going to be in trouble. I don't know. I haven't even looked at it. I think it was like 22 or 23. Georgia probably covers that. Kentucky, they can't throw the ball at all. Levis simply can't throw the ball at all. So it's going to be hard to run the ball against Georgia. So this would be probably one of those like 35-10 or 42-13. I mean, I don't think it's going to be very close. Although I didn't think Missouri game was going to be very close either.
Yeah.
Well, Missouri turned out to be a pretty good football team. They
have.
Snake bit. They can't quite win games, but they're pretty good. Kentucky has dramatically declined. If you lose to Vanderbilt, I don't know that you can fix what's wrong in 1 week in order to compete with Georgia. I think Georgia probably run them off the field. It might be, it might be interesting for a quarter or something, but probably not.
Here we go. I'm telling you, people are listening. Right here, Brandon Bain, the man that does the other show on the Coach Sports Network, NASCAR.
Yeah, man.
I mean, this kid knows his stuff, and
Cool.
he's predicting Georgia 45-13.
That's about right. I would say that's about the same. I thought last week there was a better chance for a trap game because Mississippi State is a little bit better than Kentucky, even though I think Kentucky beat them. But I do think
they did.
Overall, I think Mississippi State's a more threatening team. But yeah, like 45-13 or, it just depends on what Georgia wants to do. If they want to try to score a lot and work on some things for the SEC championship game, okay. I don't see Kentucky posing much of a threat at all, frankly. They just aren't. I really was pretty high on them at the beginning of the season because I like Mark Stoops, but I don't know if it's injuries or just underperformance or what, but they're just not very good.
And then Lawrence Bennett, 42-6, same thing on the same line. So it's going the same way. All right, last question. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of Mike Leach. I'm tired of him. I mean, it seems like when he doesn't win, he's always crying. He's always got something to say. You know what? Just coach your team. You're getting big bucks to do this. Give us something positive to say, please.
I think there was a reason that Mike Leach never got a job in the spotlight. I think he's obviously a great football coach. He
is great.
What he's doing. The problem, I think, with Leach is that there's so much baggage that comes along with him in terms of the behavior and the rants and the silliness. I don't think the referees had anything to do with that game.
I don't either.
I think Georgia kind of played down to the competition a little bit in the first half, and certainly maybe a call or two went the right way, but that's not why. In the second half, it wouldn't have mattered. Mississippi State could have put 13 players on the field, and it wouldn't have mattered. It's just whether or not, at this point with the way that Georgia is and a couple other teams, it's just whether or not they're paying attention, like whether or not they're invested in the game. And when they are, it's not going to be close. For instance, you look at the Georgia versus Missouri. Georgia just wasn't very invested in the game until the third quarter. And from that point forward, it really wasn't even competitive. Georgia just couldn't score. They just couldn't get to the end. They kicked field goals. And then in the fourth quarter, it was a complete domination. And that's what happened last week in Starkville. Kirby Smart made a terrible decision to be aggressive at the end of the half. They get a punt return, so it looks like it's close, but statistically, it wasn't close at all. No. It was a complete domination. And so in the second half, Georgia just did what they do, and that's So I think there's a good reason Leach has never really coached on the big stage, and he probably won't ever coach on the big stage, despite being really, really talented as a coach. He's just kind of a divisive, and I would imagine he's not the kind of guy that it seems to me like players would want to play for. He doesn't seem like a very positive or supportive guy. He seems pretty sarcastic and kind of like that. But whatever, he doesn't coach us.
That's right. All right, here we go. If you're watching the show, it's the Stephen Elmo Weeks Picks of the Week. He's 20-15 on the season. If you follow the bottom, I'll be scrolling his picks right now. So let's kick it off. First one, Washington State, giving up 4 at Arizona.
I'll be fair. This is not a great week for college football prognosticating. There's not a lot of lines out there that I really like a lot. A lot of teams are playing like, sort of buy games, if you will, like these silly things. So there's not a lot to pick from. I like Washington State at Arizona. Arizona comes off a big upset win last week over UCLA. Washington State quietly has had a really good season. They beat Wisconsin in Madison. I think Washington State's pretty good, and I'm kind of thinking Arizona might have been listening to the press clippings a little bit too much about how great they are and how great they did. And I think Washington State's a better team. So we'll take Washington State and give up the -4 at Arizona.
All right, so we take the Iowa Hawkeyes, getting 2.5 at the Gophers, Minnesota.
I'm a little bit stubborn about this. I just never thought that Iowa was as bad. Their offense is terrible. There's no argument about it.
There's no doubt about it.
Terrible. But I don't think that means like they're a bad football team. They've won, 4 or 5 games, and Minnesota's not like great at this year. I mean, they're okay, but the one thing Minnesota does is run the ball well, and that's the one thing that Iowa does really, really, really well. Even against the good teams, Iowa stops the run. So if Minnesota can't run and Iowa does what they do, I mean, you're probably looking at like a literal 10-7 game, something like that. And I'm hoping it's more like, somehow 14-12.
14-12, yeah.
But yeah, I would think Iowa would have a chance to win the game. All they need is like a touchdown or 2, and they can win games because their defense plays so well and they control the clock so well. So yeah, I like Iowa. I think they've kind of caught a little bit of momentum. Kirk Ferentz has been coaching for like 30 years there. It's not like this guy forgot how to coach. They just started slowly. So I like Iowa to go to Minnesota and cover the 2.5, maybe win the game. I mean, really actually win the game.
All right, so we're going with the Hawkeyes. Okay. Hey, you've been on the Auburn bandwagon here since Cadillac Williams has come in, giving up 5.5 against Western Kentucky.
Yeah, not only is Cadillac Williams better energy than Brian Harsin was, I think everybody, and I watched a little bit. I was flipping back and forth. I watched a little bit of Auburn. They're playing like they're having fun playing football. These are kids out there, enjoying the game again. I don't think that was the case earlier in the season. And, does Auburn have the talent that it used to have? No. But do they have, like, literally nobody that's good at – no, they have probably lots of really good football players. Like, they were good in high school, but the chemistry matters, right? And I think these guys are in a better place now. Again, they're at home. Now at home is a good thing for Auburn because Cadillac Williams is a hero. He's so energetic. He seems to know what he's doing. They're running better stuff. Their defense has been inspired. I'm going to take them to go ahead. And Western Kentucky's pretty good. Like, they throw it a lot. They've got a kid named Austin Reed. I think he's probably 3rd or 4th in the country in passing yards, but that's against the Conference USA. I think Auburn wins, and I think they're just carrying some momentum. I think Cadillac Williams would have to beat Alabama to get the Auburn coaching job, which he's not going to do. But it's been really cool watching him coach. And I just, very rarely in my life have I been like a big Auburn supporter, but I like watching that guy coach. He seems really genuinely into doing this, and I don't know. I think Auburn's kind of caught some late momentum, and yeah, we'll take him to beat Western Kentucky by more than 5.5.
All right, and then we go to the Utes at the Ducks. Okay, Utah giving up 2 to the Ducks of Oregon, who fell off the chart last week. Yeah,
I'm not really. I never really got into Oregon. I know they scored a lot of points, and Bo Nix did his things, and when they played bad teams, they really went up and down the field and did stuff. And then last week, I think I had them. I had Washington,
right?
Because Washington, I think, is better than Oregon, and I think Utah is better than Washington. So I don't see this. I see this being maybe just like Utah and Oregon last year, where Utah just runs the ball down their throats and there's nothing Oregon can do about it. There's also some question about whether or not Bo Nix is actually even going to play. He got a knee injury or sprained his knee or something. I don't know. So yeah, I think Utah wins the game and pushes Oregon around. They did it twice last year, and the personnel's not that much different. The coach is different for Oregon, but I don't know. I see Utah doing what they're supposed to do today and winning by more than 2.
And we're at a rivalry game. University California at Los Angeles taking on the University of Southern California. You got the Bruins getting 2.5 points over the Trojans. That's a tough one now.
Yeah, I tell you, UCLA lost last week looking ahead to this game, so they better win this one.
Yeah.
I think UCLA has a better defense. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's been playing college football for 15 years. He ought to be able to – you ought to know what he's doing by now. Right. And, there's no home field really. They're both in Los Angeles. But I think UCLA overall has been better just as a team all year. Southern California has managed to play like the easiest schedule in the history. I've never seen anything like Michigan and Southern California at USC. They've hardly played a team with a heartbeat, right?
Right.
And still, USC's given up lots of points and lots of yards to almost everybody they play. So it's probably going to be a shootout, probably like 52-45 or something crazy like that, like a Pac-12, the old school Pac-12. But yeah, I like UCLA to pull that upset, which basically eliminates the Pac-12, right, from the playoff. So USC's either going to be eliminated this week or when they play Notre Dame. It's just a matter of when. It's not if, it's when.
I like who set that schedule up. USC playing your 2 biggest rivals back to back is crazy.
Man, tough, right? Like that's you got to get that up that 2 times in a row. And Caleb Williams is fantastic. Southern California is going to score. UCLA's defense isn't that good, but I don't see how they stop UCLA. I mean, even last week, UCLA stopped itself with fumbles and silly things. It wasn't like, Arizona did anything. UCLA just made some mistakes, committed some penalties. If they clean that stuff up, we'd still be talking about UCLA winning the Pac-12. And maybe, I guess, if UCLA wins today, they'll play the winner of Oregon and Utah to win the Pac-12. But I think all of those teams would be eliminated from the college football playoff. If USC wins and then beats Notre Dame, I think, you gotta think about them being. I guess they'd have to beat Utah or Oregon. But it's been a better year for the Pac-12, like way better. But it looks like they're going to all – it's funny, though, if USC wins today and then Notre Dame knocks them off, Notre Dame will be responsible for eliminating 2 entire conferences, the ACC and the Pac-12, and they have like 3 losses. That'd be really strange, right? Like Notre Dame could absolutely shut down 2 whole conferences. If they beat North Carolina, they beat Clemson so badly that I don't think, even if Clemson wins the ACC, I don't think they're going to get a lot of votes because they got destroyed. And then if they beat Southern California, that would eliminate the Pac-12 too.
All right, well, the tick is rolling. I let you do it because sometimes I mess it up. So it's all yours.
So we'll go Washington State -4 at Arizona. We'll go Iowa +2.5 at Minnesota. Auburn -5.5 at home versus Western Kentucky. UCLA +2 against USC, and Utah -2 against Oregon.
All right, well, we're going in this weekend 20-15.
Pretty good. It's not bad.
You're doing a great. You have not had a losing week yet, so hopefully I'm not jinxing you.
You gotta stop saying that, man. You gotta stop saying that. Hey, guy, you haven't given up any hits yet.
So.
Yeah.
All right. Keep up the great work. Enjoy talking to you. Have a good Thanksgiving with the family, and we'll do it again next week because next week is good old-fashioned hate week, isn't it?
That's right. Next week there's text. So thank you very much. Go Dogs.
You got it. Have a good one, Steve. I mean, he loves picking his teams. He loves doing what he does with this every week, and it's a lot of fun talking about it. And, just like the guy before him, Tim Guidera, They're both into this big sports scene. We also got the young pup, Travis Jadon, in that fold there right now. So you got three guys that really love what's going on here in local sports and college sports and high school sports. So it's a lot of fun talking to these guys. And speaking of young pups, we didn't get to do our podcast this week because I've had a miserable week. But, I'm here. I'm doing what I got to do. We just couldn't find time to do the Prep Sports Report pigskin preview of the three playoff games. So we're gonna recap it today. We'll also talk about basketball kicking off because I don't know how this guy does. He stole my thunder here. He got Kyle Sandy on his podcast. I can't even get Kyle Sandy on my show anymore. The guy's so famous. You know what I mean? Dickie V. Kyle Sandy. He's all over the basketball world. But anyway, in 3 minutes we'll be talking to the sports reporter from Jadon Sports. And that's right, he's writing for Connect Savannah, the Prep Sports Report. He's all over the place. Travis Jadon, in 3 minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back talking high school sports. You got to love it.
All the time. That's Coach's Corner in Thunderbolt, Georgia. Because Coach's Corner has been voted the best in Savannah for over 20 years running. It's no wonder why there's always sports, live music in the sound garden, and delicious and abundance of pub food. No matter what the season, there's always a reason to check out Coach's Corner. Pick your favorite sport, pick your favorite team, and pick your favorite TV because Coach's is your place to be. Coach's Corner has been Savannah strong since 1991 and is always open for dining service for lunch and dinner. Remember, Coach's Corner still has takeout service. Join John Henderson and the crew for the best burgers, wings, and now pizza too. You can place your order by calling Coach's Corner at 912-352-2933. That's right, remember that number, 912-352-2933. So make your next pit stop at Coach's Corner. And as always, make it a night to remember at Coach's. At Calvary Day School, we want our students to be fully equipped and on the cutting edge of academics, making a difference in our world. Your child will grow academically, physically, socially, and spiritually. At Calvary, it is so good to say we are one school with one mission and one vision: faith, academics, excellence, and building champions through Christ. Calvary Day School would consider it a privilege to meet with your family personally. Call Philip Lee, Director of Admissions, at 351-2299. That's 351-2299.
For over half a century, it comes in uniforms, sporting goods, or trophies, Thompson's got you covered. From cleats to caps and best prices on the biggest brands, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. From baseball to soccer, volleyball to softball, and yes, football too. Every season starts at Thompson Sports Shop. Come get equipped at Thompson Sports Shop's new location, 6606 Abercorn Street, Suite 102 in Savannah. Open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and seasonal on Saturdays. At locally owned Thompson Sporting Goods and Trophies, come see where everyone is a winner.
You still want some real New York Italian food? Bada bing, bada boom. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering is open at 7630 Skidaway Road, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., serving breakfast and lunch right here in Savannah, Georgia. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering has been serving the public for over 3 years. Now, if you want Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering goods delivered to your door, go online to SavannahTakeout.com or DoorDash.com, or just pick up the phone and call 912-354-2914. That's right, 912-354-2914. Kabish, and remember, we ain't New York style. We are New York at Rocky's New York Deli and Italian.
Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic. Your back hurts, another body part hurts all the time. It makes you mad. The pain drives you crazy. You just want to pick something up and throw it across the room. If you can, at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic, you get complete chiropractic care and pain relief to help you move better, have a less painful life, and of course, achieve a healthier lifestyle. The Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic is now located at 2 locations in Savannah, Georgia, at 329 Eisenhower Drive and in Pooler at 114 Canal Street, Suite 603. So visit Dr. Bart Wetherington at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic for all your chiropractic needs.
And welcome back to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, heard live, usually 99% of the time, right here on the Soundgarden stage at Coach's Corner, where it's all food, all music, all sports since 1991. You gotta love it. And I gotta thank John Henderson, of course, and Adele Henderson for letting me do this every Saturday morning. Been doing it since COVID-19, and it's a lot of fun. And every day this year, I've been out here in the Soundgarden. So, you know what? 100-degree weather, 40-degree weather, you'll find the OG right here doing the show. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate whatever you may be doing. Let me be part of your day for 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's always a lot of fun talking local sports, national sports. And this young guy is a local guy. I've been here, I think a little less than his age. I think maybe 1 or 2 years or 3 years less than his age. But he knows what he's doing. Been writing for sports in Savannah since 2016. Does the Connect Savannah Wednesday article, does a option newsletter recapping the high school events from the week. He does a great job. And, of course, can't do the Prep Sports Report without him and Elmo Weeks. And that's, of course, the sports reporter in the locker room talking some high school sports with Travis Jadon. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Carl? You doing all right?
Hey, it's Saturday morning. I'm going on 5 hours sleep, and it's a lot of fun. So, I mean, what more can I want? I mean, I'm like you. I got home last night from the Calvary game. Man, it was cold. I mean, this New York, I'm telling you, it's cold. It hit 40 degrees, but you know what? Bounced back out here, 45, 50 degrees right now out here in the Sound Garden. But, you know, that's New York for you. I can deal with it. But once again, appreciate what you do for the Prep Sports Report. Friday night, last night, you recapped the BC game right away, and then to this morning we got the rest of the games up there. So, I mean, just a lot of fun doing this, and I know you're enjoying it too.
Yeah, it's always nice to see Savannah teams win. It's even nicer to see a team like Savannah Christian win on the road. So last night was a big night for the local high school football teams. It's the weird time of year, Carl, like the transition between football to basketball. And so that's always a good problem to have, I guess.
Well, you know, I'm not doing this to upset the football coaches because I was a football coach my whole life, okay? But when I moved down here, I thought football was a big thing in the South, in Savannah. But I found out basketball is the big thing here in Savannah, not football. But my first game when I traveled to Cairo, Georgia, now Cairo, Georgia, or Cairo as I would say, okay, football is the big deal. But, you know, it's a lot of fun no matter what. And the football over the last 5-10 years has put Savannah back on the map with football. Like you said, Christian, Calvary, Benedictine, you know, Country Day. I mean, you know, St. Andrews and, you know, Memorial Day School with Michael Thompson. And, you know, people are starting to realize that they do play football and they play it very well here in Savannah, Georgia. And I'm telling you right now, isn't it kicker that Benedictine and Calvary, okay, will now have to go on the road and Savannah Christian gets to stay home?
Yeah, the lovely coin flip made famous by Mr. Robin Hines up there at the GHSA. But yeah, like I think you called that like a month ago, Carl, that sometimes that's how it works out in the brackets. But look, at some point in the state playoffs in any sport, in the GHSA, you have to beat a team that's like, you know, that's really, really good. Obviously, that's part of the state playoffs. It's just a matter of if you have to do it sooner rather than later. Calvary, like BC got a ranked team in round 1, and they had, you know, a cupcake last night, you know, for all intents and purposes. And now Calvary had an easy road. The first game had kind of a tough game last night, but they'll face the toughest test that they've had in the last 2 years next week. So you got to do it at some point. It's just a matter of when. Savannah Christian already got it out of the way by winning at Peach County last night. But that's how it works out. I think a lot of the Savannah Christian people would tell you, Carl, they've kind of had that circled, that number 2 spot in the region circled, and they kind of looked ahead to say, hey, we're going to miss Cedar Grove there, or, you know, as far as how the brackets work out. And that's exactly how it's turned out right now.
I mean, it's just simply amazing. Sometimes you are the number 1 seed and you get the harder road to the championship. And, BC's had to do it a couple of times, so it's going to be pretty interesting how this plays out. Okay, so Memorial Stadium last night, you got a chance to see Benedictine beat Spalding 45-6. Zaquan Bryant shows you his outstanding athleticism, whether he's returning punts, playing defensive back, or catching passes. Luke Kromahawk, once again, steady as can be like he always is. You know, so Benedictine, but I think Benedictine has the advantage in this week's game because they traveled and played good teams. So Stockbridge might be 10-2 and might be ranked a little higher, but I think Danny Britt does the right thing. He plays the toughest schedule, non-region schedule, that I think throughout the state. So I think he might have a little advantage here going in next Friday night.
Yeah, and I'm never going to pick against Benedictine. But it's like you said, Carl. It's all about kind of the matchups, right? And Stockbridge next week is a 1 seed. They're every bit. They're worthy of Benedictine's full attention, obviously, in the quarterfinals. But they're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to be successful 30 to 40 times running the ball. And right now, I don't see any way that that's a good recipe for success against Benedictine and that defense. You know, they're good up front, BC is, but the secondary for BC is so good at coming up and tackling. So, you know, forget about the passing. They've shut down basically every passing attack they've seen since September. The running game has been non-existent against them. They haven't been great running the ball themselves, Carl, but that's why I like them against Stockbridge, is because I don't see any way that Stockbridge is going to be successful running the ball consistently against BC, maybe for a quarter and a half. But, you know, those things wear thin, and you're going to have to score to keep up with BC.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And I think, like you said, Galen Houston has done such a great job with that defensive scheme all year long. You know, of course, he's got to have – oh, what are you doing here, me? Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It seems like every time you come on, I get music to play. I don't know about that, Travis.
Maybe I bring it with me, man. I bring the noise.
All right, so Stockbridge averages 33 points a game, 33.6. BC's 34 on the nose. Okay, when you talk about the team stat comparison, Stockbridge averages 210 yards on the ground, BC 139. Now, you turn the table here, BC, which has one of the best quarterbacks in the state, in the country, if you ask me, Luke Cromenhawk, they come in averaging 174 through the year, where Stockbridge only averages 75 through the year. So I think it's going to be pretty tough for the Stockbridge team to try to win this game just by running the ball.
Yeah, and like you can ask teams like Burt County, teams like Wayne County, you can be really good at running the ball all you want, but if you turn into a one-dimensional team, and especially if you're a one-dimensional team before the first snap is even, or before the opening kick is even kicked off, that's what Stockbridge is. They are one-dimensional. That's not a good plan, in my opinion, against Danny Britt and the Cadets, and they're heating up. What else is new? They're heating up at the right time. Zaquan Bryan, Carl, last night, he took over the game for really the second week in a row. And it wasn't like he had 3 touchdowns, 2 punt return touchdowns, and a pick 6 as well. But it was also just, he probably had 8 to 12 tackles. You know, it didn't seem like he missed any assignments. And he also led the team in receptions in the game. He, you know, for the first half, he was basically their main ball carrier. So they're using him a lot. And it's almost like Danny Britt and those guys knew what they were doing this whole time, kind of saving them, because we were wondering, where is the leading receiver in the state last year? Zaquan Bryan was sort of where is he in the offense? And now I think we're starting to see that they have plenty of plays drawn up for him. BC is going to be dangerous, man. They look the part, and they're heating up at the right time. 8 in a row now, Carl. 8 wins in a row.
Last comment. I've been watching the young man for a while, Danny Britt. He always finds a way to get his best player the rock.
Yeah.
And we're coming down at the crunch time. He's finding a way to get his best player the rock. And that's, of course, Zaquan Bryan. No matter, he's rated as a 4-star defensive back, but that was like Justin Thomas. You got to get him to do more than just be a defensive back. And that's what Danny Britt, I feel, has done with his coaching staffs over the time he's been at BC. He always finds that special player that's going to do special things for his team, and he knows how to make sure he gets it in there.
Yeah, and they're pretty creative getting them the ball, right? It's not just like sometimes they'll line up under center. Sometimes it'll be, a fullback and a halfback, 5 wide. They do it a bunch of different ways, and that's tough if you're a defense to stop that, especially when you got Nasir Samuel and Thomas Blackshear and some of those other guys that BC has. I mean, plenty of weapons for them to work with for sure. But now, Carl, what's different this year with them is that like last night in the first quarter, they were like 4th and 2, I think from around midfield. And you would think usually that would be a moment to go for it. But now this defense is so good. Danny Britt doesn't think twice, punts it. They get down to the 1, force a 3 and out. And then the following punt was the 26-yard punt return from Bryant. So the ability to punt the ball away, trust your defense, is leading to points for Benedictine. And they're going to be even more dangerous when they're scoring in the third aspect of the game as well.
All right, so we'll end on that note, but we got one question. It's from the producer for Travis Jadon. Travis, that BC game got ugly. Did BC pull a Judge Smalls on Spalding with the late field goal?
The Caddyshack reference.
Yes.
Yeah, it was interesting, Carl, because there were 23 penalties in that game. Interesting is one word. There were 23 penalties in that game last night, 12 against BC, 11 against Spalding. But Spalding had 5 unsportsmanlike, 3 in the final several minutes. They had one player ejected. And Benedictine up 42-6, running clock, under a minute to play. They're up 42-6, and Danny Britt elects to kick the field goal to make it 45-6. And Spalding went gently into that good night. So, obviously there was something there.
I'll be honest with you. I've been on that side of the ball a lot when I've been beating teams, and we're beating them pretty ugly. But the other team doesn't know how to stop, and the other coach doesn't know how to stop. So you're going to do what you got to do to prove that, you know what, if you want to be that way, you're going to have to deal with it. And there's sometimes that you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And if that was the case last night, I don't blame Danny Britt for doing it. I mean, if you can't get your kids out of there without being, being unruly and trying to cause BC to lose a player or a couple of players, hey, you know what? Take what comes to you, buddy. You know what? I'll tell you this right now, and I know people are going to think I'm crazy. I put my team on the field. My job as a coach is to stop you. And when you're in the playoffs, it's the playoffs. I'm going to do what I got to do to win, and I'm going to win and make sure my kids are confident going in. And you never know when you're going to need that field goal also. So
yeah.
I've gotten beat 69-7. I've gotten beat 55-0. But you know what? That comes on me. Because I didn't prepare my team well enough to beat that other team. So, no, what Danny Britt did last night, and if you tell me that's the case at the end of the game, they deserved it.
Yeah, and instead of getting mad or arguing or doing all that kind of stuff, it's real easy to sort of take your jab back by sending your field goal team out there and getting 3 more points on the board. If they would have scored any more, they would have broke the scoreboard, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so, you know what? Yeah.
Yeah, he had every right to do that. Like, I don't blame him at all. Right. I'm surprised he didn't put his starters back in to go for a touchdown, to be honest. Because it got hectic there at the end.
Well, at that point, and I watched Calvary last night, because even though the score says 54-41, Calvary was the better team, but Doherty had this cockiness about him, and they were going to get into Calvary's face, and they were going to try and, and you can see the Calvary kids, not the coaches, the Calvary players talking to each other. We don't need this. We got another game next week. You got to walk away. You got to stop it. And, I wasn't far from the sideline. So, when it's that time and it's playoffs, you got to do what you got to do to prove your point. And if you're not going to go out gracefully because you couldn't stop us, hey, you know what? Take what's coming to you, buddy.
Yeah, especially when one side has something next week and the other side is heading into basketball season.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean? So there really is a lot to lose on one side and very little to lose on the other side.
All right, quickly, you spent a lot of time on that game because you were there, but I was at the Calvary game.
I can't help it.
We're at the Calvary game. I'm telling you right now, that's the best running game I've seen Calvary have all year long. 348 yards rushing, and I thank, of course, our man, Dennis Knight, and his daughter gets early acceptance into Georgia. And the man's a proud papa. He's got his Georgia. He went out and bought Georgia hats. I mean, you got to love Dennis Knight. You got to love him. I mean, he's on the clipboard, up and down the sideline. But he does a great job. 348 yards. And, of course, I know the offensive coordinator. He doesn't fall far from the tree. If you're going to give me something, I'm gonna abuse it until you can stop it. And I've always told my son Russell, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Just use it. 348 yards on the ground. I mean, it was just a phenomenal. Strobridge, what's his first name? Trevor, yeah. 179 yards, and the kid was all over the place. He was always one step from breaking almost every run he had. AJ Butts, he got the garbage duty. He got the 4 touchdowns after they got down to the end zone. And Merkling is just Merkling. He's consistent, does what he's got to do. And when you got Duper Colden, I mean. You talk about, which one was it? Was it the sim punt where the highlights show Zaquan jumping over the guy or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Duper Coleman on that 80-yard touchdown run, and plus he got behind a freight train with Mike Smith. It was just something special, and it's just a shame that we can't see this game in Savannah, because now you got the number 1 team in the state taking on the number 2 team in the state in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a stretch to say this is the game of the year for any of our area teams, period, to date. Number 1, Cedar Grove. They're top 40 in a lot of polls in the country.
In the country. Yep.
They're top 40, let alone they're number 1 in the state in Class 3A in Georgia. Calvary's won 23 out of 20 of their last 24 games. They're the number 2 team in the state. They're 11-0. I mean, they're a legitimate state championship threat. And so whoever gets out of that game, Carl, it is unfortunate that it's being played, at Cedar Grove, but I do think that maybe Calvary's going to benefit from sort of getting punched in the mouth a little bit, down the stretch. And I know there was an onside kick last night that led to that, but they gave up 20 points, Calvary did, in the fourth quarter after giving up 16 points in the previous 20 quarters.
Right.
So that's, that doesn't happen to them a lot. So maybe they needed that. And I do think that, Carl, Cedar Grove is not going to sneak up on Calvary, right?
No.
I think they know what's ahead of them, and so they're going to get their best effort. And if Calvary can play their A-plus game, if they can have their game of the season, there's no reason why they can't win. And that's from me never having seen Cedar Grove. But their roster and their team is good enough where if they play their game, I can't imagine anyone is going to blow them out. And I think they could beat any team in the state for sure.
Well, it's going to come down to, and you said it over at Memorial Day School, you saw a kid who was a D1 player take control of the game in Zaquan Bryant.
Yep.
Well, this kid from Doherty, what was his name? Davis, the quarterback.
Cam Davis.
He's only a junior. I hate to see what his senior season is going to be like. He's an FSU commit. This kid was a D1 player on that field. I mean, he was boxed in I don't know how many times in the backfield by that Calvary defense, and he made something out of nothing. And improvise. This kid was special. You could tell he's a D1 ball player. And that's what kept Doherty in the game, is that this kid can make things happen. And, you could tell they were broken plays, but this kid can make something happen. And I think Calvary as a team was the better team because Doherty didn't have the same talent as Calvary did. And you know what? The guy came out shooting his mouth. He had a right to shoot his mouth, the Doherty coach, and I don't care if he sees it or not. But you know what? If you can't back it up, buddy, don't shoot it. You had one guy that was keeping you in the game, and he had a special night last night.
Well, that's interesting that I'm just thinking about this now. Cromenhawk Jr. committed to Florida State. Cam Davis Jr. committed to Florida State. Those are 2 really different kinds of quarterbacks, right?
Quarterbacks, yep.
Yeah, 2 different kinds of quarterbacks, both headed to Tallahassee. For the life of me, Carl, I can't figure out what's to like about Tallahassee or Florida State or that program right now, but maybe they know something I don't know.
Well, maybe Novell's got something special going on. I mean, they've changed. I did it again in my time. I timed out on my backdrop. But anyway, he's got something special going on there, and people want to go there. So it must be something's going on there. And they're very respectable this year, Florida State.
Well, they're definitely better than Miami. That's a better situation than Miami, and I would probably say that they're probably in a better situation than Florida right now.
Don't say that to Georgia Tech, who I thought would beat Miami last week. So we won't go there, okay?
Ever depend on Georgia Tech. I learned that the hard way. Never depend on Georgia Tech.
If you're tuning in, you're watching the Karl DeMasi Sports Report on the Coach's Corner Sports Network. I'm talking to another guy on the Coach's Corner Sports Network, Travis John with Hot Grids Podcast. So we usually do a pigskin preview every Wednesday night, but due to our schedules, we couldn't work it out. He's also got a whistle in his mouth, too. Right there, buddy?
What's that?
You also got a whistle in your mouth during the week.
Oh, yeah. I'm coaching an 8-and-under basketball team, man. It is, it might kill me, to be honest. It's a lot.
Yeah, but isn't your honorable mention all region basketball skills?
Yeah, but just because I was a fantastic honorable mention player, in high school, averaging 5.3 points per game, doesn't mean I can be a great coach. It's all I can do to get them just to listen for 2 seconds, let alone to run a play or make a bounce pass or any of that stuff.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's go to the last game on the tap. Savannah Christian took to the road. They went out to Peach County, 7-7 halftime, and the Ghost, Jamari McIvory, state champion in the 800 meter, takes it 92 yards to put them up 14-7. They got them in momentum. They wound up winning 23-7. And as we, I don't know if I read it from you or from Dennis. I've read so much this morning. But they held Peach County, who's been averaging, 32 points a game, to 7 points. I think Baker Woodward's defense showed up and came and played.
Yeah, and look, we just talked a bunch about BC. We talked a lot about Calvary. The team that probably has the best shot to make the Final Four is probably Savannah Christian.
Savannah Christian.
And they've been that way all year. They have not been ranked in the Class 3A poll yet. They're 11-1 now. Last year, Calvary made the Final Four without ever having entered the top 10. Even after they made the Final Four in the final poll, still not in the top 10 somehow. So Savannah Christian has those vibes about them, and I watched that whole game last night, Carl. Savannah Christian looked dominant, and I would say damn near flawless last night at Peach County, who's a name brand. Peach County is a name brand in this state when it comes to high school football, and Savannah Christian looked like they were clearly the better team pretty much from start to finish last night. Elijah Griffin, poor Peach County, they kept trying to bring their tight end, and I call him a tight end. It was really sixth offensive lineman, and they would motion him over, not trying to hide it at all, just trying to get an extra blocker on Griffin, and it didn't work. It just didn't work at all. It allowed Akeem Lane in the middle to get basically whatever they wanted. Peach County looked, I don't know about frustrated, Carl. They kind of looked shell-shocked. I don't think they knew what was coming for them, and now that their offense is starting to click a little more too, they're really, really dangerous. And look, Mark Stroud won his 250th game last night, career. Yep. But Baker Woodward is already 45-15. Now in his fifth year, hasn't finished his fifth year yet. So he's on pace to do a lot of numbers there in terms of overall wins. And what they've done with that program, they're about as consistent as anybody.
Oh, yeah.
I think, 10 Elite Eights in the last 14 seasons. Pretty solid.
But I got to go back to what you said. Calvary last year, no respect.
Yeah.
Not ranked. Weren't supposed to get to the Final Four. Savannah Christian, no respect. After they went toe-to-toe with the number 2 team in the state.
Yeah.
And what's really getting, when I get excited, when I want to stress my point here, I get riled up like Dickie V, you know what I mean? But both these teams get no respect, and they're both Class A teams playing in 3A. So you got Cedar Grove, you got Peach County. They're both legit 3A teams.
Yeah.
And they're going against schools that are much smaller, that are proven that they can play them better than that. So this, like you said, Georgia High School State Association and this multiplier rule and all this other stuff, you know what? Like I said before, if you put a team on a football field, you're the head coach, take care of business, make sure you can play with those people. And you know what? Savannah Christian, Calvary, they were told to play in 3A, or they chose to play in 3A, but they did it because they know their coaching staff and their kids would respond to that responsibility. And I just got to say, I taught you about Rodney Dangerfield last week. They both get no respect, whatever you want to say. And you got probably 2 of the best coaches in the state. Well, 250 wins in 31 seasons, pretty special if you ask me.
Yeah.
So, I've coached
not too shabby, but Carl, they kind of all push themselves, right? Especially Savannah Christian and Calvary. What one does, the other can't, and they'll never admit this, but they cannot look away from each other for a second because you'll fall behind, on the field or off the field. And so that's raised the level of play. And I think it, if we're honest, it started at BC with Danny Britt, and then it quickly worked its way back to Savannah Christian with Chumley in the later years, and then now Baker Woodward, and then Mark Stroud was there for a stint, left for a year, back for 13, I think 14. This is his 14th season. Yeah. Now back there. So they're all kind of pushing themselves, and look, there's no secret who's the best teams in Savannah are. It's the private school. It's this trio of private schools. We thought that at the beginning of the season, and that's what it's turned out to be.
And you're being
Carl, just one more thing.
Whoa. And you're being very hush-hush about the Hornets, because Country Day, Calvary, and Christian, that 3-headed monster will always stay together no matter what the situation is. So
yeah, we're reloading. We're reloading at Country Day. I don't doubt that they'll be right there in the playoffs next year, to be honest. But hey, I was doing the newsletter this morning, trying to put it together, and I noticed that Calvary, Benedictine, and Savannah Christian, all three undefeated at home this year. Wow. So they're 20-0 combined. They're 20-0 combined. The only loss in the city has been Savannah Christian at Calvary,
right, this
year. And so that kind of just tells you where they're at in terms of everyone else.
So, all right. So quickly, we went long here. Quickly, basketball started. Early season rankings. Johnson and Beach in the boys with Woodville Tompkins. In the girls, we got Woodville Tompkins and Bryan County, which I'm shocked Beach and Johnson girls haven't been even sniffed at. So it's going to be a fun season. They're already playing. So quickly, you threw out your boys preview. We got to put together a girls preview. So give us quickly breakdown on your boys.
Well, for me, it's again the name brand's Johnson, number 3 in Class 3A. Beach, I worry about Beach a little this year. They had a kind of a Cinderella run to the Final Four last season. They beat Savannah High last night, an upstart Savannah High team, but they beat them 58-57. And so that was a curious score for me. Savannah High is going to be much better this year. I think they'll finish over 500 this season. But for the number 4 team in the state, Beach, to win by 1 point, that was curious to me.
I didn't see Mr. Huggy. You know?
I didn't see him in the box score either.
I didn't see him in the box score either.
Yeah. So
and that kid plays above the top of the basket.
Yeah, he's a high flyer, and Beach can get up and go. But here's the thing, Carl. It's that you could get beat up real quickly with some of the schedules that these teams are playing. The Joe Green tournament on Monday, I don't think I've looked forward more to a Savannah, tournament showcase event more than this in recent memory. 5 top 10 teams on the boys' side playing over a span of 2 days at Beach High School, including Bakari Bryant coming back to Savannah. The former Jenkins head coach, state championship winning coach. They're going to play. Doherty's going to play. What's that?
Who I beat.
Did you beat him?
I sure did.
Man, we got to get you a banner or something. But that's what I'm excited about, to be honest, is the early non-region stuff. The return of the Savannah Holiday Classic is going to be awesome. And then I am curious to see kind of who that 3rd, 4th team is that seems to pop up every year, right? If we assume it's going to be Johnson, I'm always going to lock Lenny Williams and Woodville into the top 10. For me, they're always a Sweet 16 team, no matter what, just because that's sort of what they do over there without a football team. That's the marquee team at Woodville. But I wonder who the 3rd team is, and I wouldn't be surprised if Calvary makes a run. They have a pair of freshmen from overseas that are, I've heard 7 foot, so I'm going to assume they're probably 6'8", from the way people exaggerate.
You also don't have some of those football players out there either, like Mike Smith and Jake Berklinger. So, that's going to be a program to deal with. But let me go back to what you're saying, okay? First of all, I'm only joking. Yes, for me at Islands High School, the measuring stick in that region was always to try and beat, at that time, Jenkins was the team to beat, okay?
Yeah.
So, yes, I had some special players. It wasn't Coach DeMasi that beat him. I had some special players. But that's not here or there. What I've noticed, and listening to that media day the other day, is the coaches, and, Danny Britt has done it in football, okay? To be the best, you got to play the best. And like you said, they're going to beat themselves up early, and you just got to hope, like Chucky Campbell said from Johnson, that it's going to carry on into February. And yes, it's unbelievable. There's an unbelievable slate of talent here in Savannah, Georgia. We're not talking about St. Andrews, who won the GAIA last year. Memorial Day School with, Dale Mock's got a kid there that's 7 foot, 6'8". So, but to be the best, you got to play the best, and that's what these guys believe in. And, Lenny Williams is not going to back down from anybody. Chuck Campbell's not. Simons is not going to back down at Beach. And, Tim Jordan is Tim Jordan. He's got a good group of young kids, and that's why this guy's not leaving. Tim, you got to realize I am the OG. I got one more year than you do, but you don't want to admit that.
Ooh, but shots fired.
No, I love Tim Jordan. I would play, and Tim Jordan is on Island's high school schedule because I made the schedule. I would play Tim Jordan every year. But here's the Tim Jordan. All right, off the topic here, a little tangent. Tim Jordan is a class act.
Yeah,
he was beating me one time when I started when I was coaching, and it was first beginning at Savannah High, and I lost all my timeouts, and I turned down to the sideline. I said, Tim, can you call a timeout for me? I really got to talk to these young men. And you know what? He did that for me. He never ran the score up in my face like some previous coaches did at previous other schools. I'm not going to say any names, but that's the difference. He's a class act. He knows what it's like to be on one side and then the other side. And, so what Tim Jordan does, he's building a program over there again. He's doing it very silently.
Yeah, he's different at the podium, too. Like at those media days, there is a stark difference between what Tim Jordan says, what he sounds like, what he looks like, and the way guys like Lenny Williams and Chuck Campbell go about it. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way, Karl, and maybe I'm alone in that. I like both of them, but we're getting back to sort of those old school days where it was Tim Jordan, Tim Jordan, Utah, Bakari on his way up. Those media days are fun. Like the football ones, I could take them or leave them. They're not that exciting to me. But the basketball guys, they show up and they say stuff.
Oh, they're going to.
I love that more than anyone.
They're going to tell you how they feel. They're going to tell you how they're going to coach. And Savannah High, that was the model of what everybody wanted to be way back in the day.
Oh yeah.
And here you got and I'm going to say it, and Tim knows it. Here you got a football coach or a football player that took over a program and learned from one of the best in Ron Love, and gave that program that toughness, that tough mentality, that he wanted the athlete that was going to be a football player and go out there, or a basketball player, and be that tough and tenacious, pressure defense. The only thing I think that's going to draw back on Tim now is the 35-second clock, because Tim is a firm disciple of Dean Smith's 4 quarters. When he got a lead, he took the air out of the ball. You're not going to be able to do that this year, so we'll see how he adapts to that situation. But Savannah High is going to turn a lot of heads this year, and they're in Class A.
Yeah, I think so too. Them and Bryan County are going to be, I think, right there behind Woodville in that region. But yeah, it's nice to have a guy like Tim Jordan around, just to remind you that you don't have to be, arrogant, and you can be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but there are different ways to do it. And that's the way that Tim Jordan did it. Those 58 to 57 games like they played last night, if Coach Jordan can keep those games in that kind of a scoring range, they'll be just fine, because that's what he likes.
All right, we got to get out of here. We've been doing it a long time. Once again, Lawrence, like you said, you love 2-hour shows. I'm only 10 minutes away from it, but Lawrence wants to throw out some love to you there, buddy.
Oh, thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Lawrence. Grits Podcast. His check's in the mail.
No better guy than Mr. Lawrence Bennett. I'm telling you right now, he does everything for all of us that are part of this little Coach's Corner Sports Network, and he does a great job, and I'm glad to call him a friend, and I'm glad that he loves what we're doing. So, it's a great feather in our cap.
Yeah, me too. We got to keep him around. I hope his contract's not coming up anytime soon.
Well, hopefully he keeps John happy so John don't fire him.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.
All right, other than that, appreciate you coming on, and we'll be talking, I guess, this week, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's going to be a lot of fun following what happens next Friday night. And there's only one place you're going to be next Friday night. You know that.
Yeah, Pooler Stadium, I guess. And I plan on going out to the Joe Green on Tuesday, too, nice. So some hoop stuff as well.
I'll be heading up to Cedar Grove, because Mama's got to follow her, her baby boy. So we'll be up in Cedar Grove to watch Calvary take on Cedar Grove. So it should be a lot of fun. So I'll be definitely texting stuff back from there. But, I mean, last night I didn't have to text anything. You had Dennis Knight, you had Calvary, you had you had, it was all over the place, everything being text. So once again, appreciate it. And anything else you want to plug there? Where can they find all your stuff?
No, yeah, the easiest way, Instagram, Twitter, @Jadon Sports. Is the best way you can find all the writing at the various places. And then Hot Grits Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Hold it. We got another comment that came up here. No, it wasn't. That was the last one. We already talked about Judge Smalls. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you during the day or tomorrow. Appreciate it. And when's your Connect newsletter coming out?
It'll be out probably around 4 p.m.
And if people want it?
ConnectSavannah.com/newsletters.
You got it.
All right. Thanks, Carl.
Talk to you later.
See you, man.
Appreciate it. Good job. A lot of fun talking to Travis Dunn. He knows his stuff. He's been, he grew up here, Savannah Country Day alum. He loves writing about high school sports and following all that stuff. So, once again, great job. All right, I need a break. I need a 3-minute break. I got to catch my breath. I got to show you my videos out the door. Give you my little Carl's Corner editorial. Not a happy one. Okay, and I guess you know what I'm talking about. The world of sports. We'll be back in 3 minutes. It's the Karl DeMasi Sports Report. Right here on the Coach's Corner Sports Network. You gotta love it. Once again, you gotta love pushing the wrong buttons.
All the time. That's Coach's Corner in Thunderbolt, Georgia. Because Coach's Corner has been voted the best in Savannah for over 20 years running. It's no wonder why there's always sports, live music in the sound garden, and delicious and abundance of pub food. No matter what the season, there's always a reason to check out Coach's Corner. Pick your favorite sport, pick your favorite team, and pick your favorite TV because Coach's is your place to be. Coach's Corner has been Savannah strong since 1991 and is always open for dining service for lunch and dinner. Remember, Coach's Corner still has takeout service. Join John Henderson and the crew for the best burgers, wings, and now pizza too. You can place your order by calling Coach's Corner at 912-352-2933. That's right, remember that number, 912-352-2933. So make your next pit stop at Coach's Corner. And as always, make it a night to remember at Coach's. At Calvary Day School, we want our students to be fully equipped and on the cutting edge of academics, making a difference in our world. Your child will grow academically, physically, socially, and spiritually. At Calvary, it is so good to say we are one school with one mission and one vision: faith, academics, excellence, and building champions through Christ. Calvary Day School would consider it a privilege to meet with your family personally. Call Philip Lee, Director of Admissions, at 351-2299. That's 351-2299.
For over half a century, it comes in uniforms, sporting goods, or trophies, Thompson's got you covered. From cleats to caps and best prices on the biggest brands, Under Armour, Adidas, and more. From baseball to soccer, volleyball to softball, and yes, football too. Every season starts at Thompson Sports Shop. From cutting and equipped at Thompson Sports Shop's new location, 6606 Abercorn Street, Suite 102 in Savannah. Open Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and seasonal on Saturdays. At locally owned Thompson Sporting Goods and Trophies, come see where everyone is a winner.
You still want some real New York Italian food? Bada bing, bada boom. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering is open at 7630 Skidaway Road, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., serving breakfast and lunch right here in Savannah, Georgia. Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering has been serving the public for over 3 years. Now, if you want Rocky's New York Deli and Italian Catering goods delivered to your door, go online to SavannahTakeout.com or DoorDash.com, or just pick up the phone and call 912-354-2914. That's right, 912-354-2914. Kabish, and remember, we ain't New York style. We are New York at Rocky's New York Deli and Italian.
Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic. Your back hurts, another body part hurts all the time. It makes you mad. The pain drives you crazy. You just want to pick something up and throw it across the room? If you can. At the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic, you get complete chiropractic care and pain relief to help you move better, have a less painful life, and of course, achieve a healthier lifestyle. The Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic is now located at 2 locations in Savannah, Georgia, at 329 Eisenhower Drive and in Pooler at 114 Canal Street, Suite 603. So visit Dr. Bart Wetherington at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic for all your chiropractic needs.
And welcome back to the Karl DeMasi Sports Report. And I'd like to thank you for making me part of your Saturday morning, whether it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. It's always a lot of fun. Remember, you can go to my YouTube channel, the Karl DeMasi Sports Report, to see the previous shows, or Facebook. I mean, I just thankful for doing this. Thanksgiving, thankful for John Henderson being a good friend and let me do this since COVID hit. And, of course, Lawrence Bennett, always backing me up in whatever you do. And Lawrence, you love my 2-hour shows. I really do appreciate it. And once again, when you got the good kids on, you got to do 2-hour shows. And it's all about the high school sports and the high school kids. That's why I do it. And, it's not about Karl DeMasi. All right. So I didn't finish up all the sports when we opened the show. I got to figure out, Lawrence, you and I got to get together and come up with some kind of time allotment, because I never get a chance to talk about the other sports, the college sports, the pro sports. So let me wrap it up here before I get into my 3 steps out the door on my editorial. College basketball, Savannah State has started. Men won the SEAC last year. They're off to a 1-0 start. They had a good win over Voorhees the other night, 69-64. Elite Bulls, Johnson alum, at Savannah State now. Him and his brother had 23 the other night in that Voorhees win. They'll be Tuesday at Flagler College at 7 o'clock with the women. Women are playing at 4:30. Next Saturday will be their SEAC opener. Okay, so Tuesday they play Flagler. Next Saturday, both the men's and women's Savannah State teams will be at Kentucky State University to open their SEAC season. So it should be a lot of fun. Women are off to a 2-0 start. Coach Baker, great job. They won 2 games last weekend at the Miles College Invitational. They'll open up against Kentucky State. SCAD, women's soccer team ranked 10th, lost in the first round 2-1 to Olivet Nazarene College. So the ladies finished 14-4-1. The SCAD Bees, the men's, finished 5-11. Women's cross country won the Sun Conference. They went to the NAIA Invitational this weekend. Yesterday, they finished 26 out of 36 teams. Cycling, they're at the Hendersonville Conference Championship in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Bowling, both men's and women's teams are phenomenal. Defending NAIA champions, the women's team, they'll be playing at the National Collegiate Match Games all day today in St. Louis, Missouri. All right. Football on slate, Georgia, 3:30 against Kentucky, 22.5 point favorites. All right. Georgia Tech is at 5:30. They're away at North Carolina. They're 23-point underdogs. North Carolina is ranked 13th in the country. Georgia State is at James Madison. They are 3-point underdogs. That's 2 p.m. Georgia Southern hosts Marshall. Georgia Southern is getting 7.5 points against Marshall, and that's in Statesboro. All right, professional, local. The Hawks. They're off to a 9-6 start. They're 3rd in the conference. They're 1st in their division. They beat the Bucks on Monday. Then they came back and lost to the Celtics on Wednesday. They'll take on the Raptors tonight, up there in ATL. Football. Atlanta comes back after playing not last Thursday, the Thursday before, losing to Carolina 25-15. They take on the Bears tomorrow. The Chicago Bears tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Brian Harmon is at the RSM Classic. He's tied for 28th at 6 under. He's ranked 13th in the FedEx Cup. He's 26th in the world. Gene Sowers finished up the championship tour last week. He wound up finishing 29th. He wound up finishing 33rd for over. Savannah Ghost Pirates, our local East Coast Hockey League team, last night in a shootout beat the Orlando Solar Bears. I'm telling you right now, the East Coast Hockey League has some great nicknames for their hockey teams. 2-1 in a shootout. That means they played overtime. They went to a shootout like you do, the golden kick in soccer, whatever it's called. Daniel Diamato scores the decisive goal in that shootout against Orlando. They'll be home tonight again, sold out, Enmark Arena against the Jacksonville Icemen. All right, the Pirates are 6-2-2. They're 2nd in South Division. They're taking on the Jacksonville Icemen, who are 6-5, and they are in 5th place. Don't forget, this week, I think it's at the Enmark Arena. I hope it's at the Enmark Arena. I think it's at the Enmark Arena. We got this is a lot to say. The Mike Hostelo inaugural Hoops Community Classic College Thanksgiving Tournament. Okay, the women's teams will start Monday, and end on Wednesday. The teams that are coming: Marshall, Norfolk State, Purdue Fort Wayne, Tennessee Martin, Fairleigh Dickinson, Austin Peay, Illinois Chicago, and Davidson College. They'll be Monday through Wednesday. Okay, then on Friday through Sunday, okay, we got the men's tournament. We'll have James Madison, South Alabama, Mercer, Valparaiso, South Dakota State, Townsend, Evansville, and Robert Morris. Okay, James Madison is coached by the former Georgia Southern head coach, Mark Byington. So that's what we got. Got to go to my videos that I've seen the last 2 days. Got to be honest with you, haven't a lot of time to watch Twitter and do that stuff. But you want to talk about a hype video? We know colleges do hype videos before their big football games. Check out Savannah Christian's. Pretty impressive for their this week's game against Peach County. Can't wait to see this week's hype video. That's unbelievable. The hype video, because they'll be playing home against Sandy Creek Friday night in Pooler Stadium. I can't wait to see that hype video come out. That was pretty special. We talked about last night's shootout. Of course, it caught my attention. We always think about the guy scoring a goal. How about the goalie, okay, Mr. Seville, his last name is Seville, who made the big save for the Ghost Pirates last night to preserve that shootout win. Here you go. Compliments, of course, of the Ghost Pirates, just like Savannah Christian was from Savannah Christian.
Sedlowski in the high slot, moves, backhand, and a nice save by Seville with the left toe. The game is over, and the Ghost Pirates win. Sedlowski in the high slot, moves, backhand, and a nice save by Seville with the left toe. The game is over, and the Ghost Pirates win.
Nice, nice. Ghost Pirates 6-2, 6-2-2, and they're in second place in that South Conference. All right, you got to watch this. Compliments of Amy Zimmer. I know they sent me the highlights of all three games. I never got a chance to get to them, but that's what I mean. I got to redo my time slots here for my schedule, my time clock. Okay, but watch Zacon Bryant on this touchdown. Unbelievable. Of course, courtesy of Amy Zimmer, WJCL, The Frenzy. Here he goes. That deserves an encore. There he goes, up and over. Touchdown, Cadets. I mean, if that's not great, I don't know what else is. I mean, just a great guy, a great kid, a great family. Anthony Dooley, Brian, Groves graduate. Zaquan going to Minnesota, already committed. Gotta love it. All right, let's go to Carl's Corner. Virginia, University of Virginia. I'm telling you, this is a crazy world. Crazy, crazy world. 3 football players on a college trip. Former teammate. Shoots him, kills him. I just don't know what this world's coming to. And it hits home because, like me, I'm a sports fanatic. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. 3 football players shot by another football player. Yes, the the criminal that did it wasn't on the team anymore. But you just don't know when people are going to lose it. And it hurts. Virginia did the right thing. They canceled the game against Coastal Carolina. All the sports teams there are honoring them. The Washington Commanders are going to put the 3 decals of the players' names on the back of their helmet. Just not going to bring back those kids, though. It's just a crazy world, people. It's just a crazy world we live in. And this is what happens to hit, I guess, home to me because it's sports. And, even though I do watch national news, I do follow the news, and the crimes, the killings, make no sense. Make no sense. But that's the world we live in right now. Like I've been saying, like I say on my podcast with Kyle Lawson on Who's on First Baseball podcast, it's the wild, wild west. There's no control. Athletes getting killed. Beatings happening at athletic events. School shootings. It really hurts. It really hurts. And to those 3 young men that died, 3 young football players at University of Virginia, thoughts and prayers are, of course, with you. And, of course, the loved ones that are left to deal with this catastrophe. Just a catastrophe. Whew. So, got a comment in the box here. Let's see what it has to say. All right. Yes, Lawrence Bennett. Woo, 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 woo. 2 hours plus. Okay, just talking local sports. I enjoy doing it. Can't believe it's 2 hours already. And I'm out here in the Sound Garden, not in the nice, warm, cozy confines of the restaurant here at Coach's Corner. All right, got to thank my guests. Once of all, off the top, Devin Long, Islands High School senior softball player, athlete. I get to coach her in basketball, committing to East Carolina University on our way to meet the other commits that are going to be playing softball at East Carolina this morning. Dad was driving. She wasn't driving when she was doing that, okay? Of course, my second Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic of the week from Richmond High School, Memphis Rich, only a junior, winning the state Class 7A cross-country boys meet. Great kid right there. Then, of course, Stephen Elmo Weeks finding time to come in here and talk about his picks. The prognosticator. I get to say that word with no trouble anymore. Okay, he's 20-15 on the season. He made his picks. And just to go over, if you do want to use them and you want a little cabbage, okay, the man chose Washington State giving 4 to Arizona, Iowa getting 2.5 against Minnesota, Auburn giving 5.5 to Western Kentucky, Utah giving 2 to Oregon, and UCLA, the Bruins, getting 2.5 against the Trojans. So those were the picks from Mr. Elmo Weeks. And, of course, Travis Jadon coming on and doing a great job breaking down high school football last night. And, of course, the upcoming basketball season. Got to thank them. Other than that, Lawrence Bennett, thanks for keeping me straight. Thanks for following the show and telling me what's going on. Even though, knock on wood, didn't have any problems today. So I did have the computer. Of course, my laptop goes off. I tried to change the display settings, but it didn't happen. But once again, please say a prayer for everybody at the University of Virginia, especially for those families that lost those 3 young men. Say a prayer for the United States of America, because it's a crazy world out there. And, of course, as I say every week, please say a prayer for all those people in Ukraine who are going through some tough times there also. But once again, that's why we do this. Sports takes us out of the stress of what's going on our society. Whatever you're doing today or tomorrow, always eat at the park. And until I talk to you next week, may it be your best week ever. God bless. Happy Thanksgiving. Turkey Day, Thursday. Food and football all day long. You got to love it. Be safe, people. Peace out.